Origin and bitterness of revenge from Meghan, Kate and William cut off Harry's wife for the ceremony. Only months before the now Duke and Duchess of Sussex got engaged, the Suits star was left off an important guest list. Of all the places to play hide-and-seek, Althorp House in Northampton would be a doozy. Set on 13,000 acres, the 31-bedroom pile has been the seat of the Spencer clan since 1508. The 115-foot picture gallery still remains the original two-door paneling. Fun fact, the home once boasted a 100,000-book library before the 5th Earl of Spencer, a.k.a. the Red Earl, was forced to sell them off to settle his debts. However, most famously, the Palladian behemoth is known as the childhood home of Diana, Princess of Wales, and the location of her final resting place. It was also the scene in 2017 of a little-known chapter in the long and ultimately tragic tale of Megxit, which saw Prince Harry at loggerheads with his brother William, Duke of Cambridge, over Suits star Meghan Markle. So let's rewind to 2017. The year marked 2 decades since the pioneering, rule-shunning princess had been killed in a Paris tunnel. The princess took part in 2 sanctioned documentaries about her life, and the Kensington Palace sunken garden, a favorite of the princess's, was transformed into a sea of white blooms in honor of her memory. And the Diana Award was announced to the introduction of the Legacy Award. All fitting was given her profound legacy, and all very public. Away from the cameras and the prying eyes, Diana's family had also planned a private tribute to celebrate her life. On July 1st, the day that would have been her 56th birthday, they gathered at Althorp and the Archbishop of Canterbury, as you do, for an intimate service to rededicate her grave. With the benefit of hindsight, the events surrounding that day may have gone some way to sowing the seeds of discord that would ultimately see the couple, now known as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, quit royal life in a spectacular, incendiary fashion. But before we get into what happened, you have to understand what had happened in the months prior. By May of 2017, Harry's relationship with Meghan was going full tilt. After having dated for nearly a year, contending with the exigencies of the transatlantic romance, it seemed less of an if, but a when that the duo would end up in front of the Archbishop of Canterbury, him again, saying "I do" and at some point in the near future. That month, Harry had procured a conflict-free diamond ring, courtesy during a conservation trip to Botswana, and he had started telling his inner circle that he planned to propose. Quick, we need someone on dove duty. When June rolled around, so too did Meghan's appearance on the cover of Vanity Fair, giving an interview about her relationship with the Queen's grandson, and marking the first time a royal girlfriend had ever openly spoken to the press before an engagement. Unbeknownst to Meghan, even her bosses were planning on her tying the knot, and that as of beginning of 2017, a Suits executive producer, Aaron Korsh, later revealed they had already started working out how to write her character out of the series. Collectively, the writers, we decided to take a gamble that these 2 people were in love and it was going to work out, he later said. Despite the lovey-dovey rhetoric and the diamonds, Harry had tucked away in his sock drawer. Harry and Meghan's relationship was already drawing fire. Famously, at an unspecified point roughly in 2016 or 2017, William had uttered to his brother the now infamous words, "Don't feel like you need to rush this. Take as much time as you need to get to know this girl," questioning the velocity at which their romance was moving. Harry is reported to have taken deep umbrage with the brotherly intervention, raising his hackles. Others have interpreted the moment slightly differently, and the Sun's then royal correspondent Emily Andrews has written that William just wanted to stress that becoming part of the royal family is a massive undertaking, and the pressure and scrutiny is unrelenting. Was Meghan the right one? The older brother also dragooned their uncle and Diana's brother, Earl Spencer, to the cause, reportedly asking him for help. The result of the Spencer intervention was an even more bitter explosion, veteran biographer Robert Lacey wrote in Battle of Brothers. So had Harry's lifelong friend Tom Inskip queried things. Around April, he reportedly had a heart-to-heart with the royal, arguing that Harry and Meghan were moving too quickly. He was pretty blunt with Harry about whether he was rushing into things, a source told the authors of Finding Freedom. In May, Kate's sister Pippa Middleton was set to wed. Meghan was a reluctant addition to the guest list, Freedom's authors Omid Scobie and Carolyn Durand had written. Both the bride and her mom, Carol, privately harbored concerns that the American actress's presence alongside Harry might overshadow the main event. Ultimately, the then 35-year-old only went to the reception. And that glowing Vanity Fair profile? While Harry is reported to have approved of the move, the only line from Kensington Palace, per a Telegraph story from the time, was that they were aware that it would be coming out. Hardly bringing an endorsement, this brings us to July 1st, the ceremony at Althorpe. On September 6, 1997, after her funeral, Diana's body made the 120-kilometer trip from Westminster Abbey to her family estate to be laid to rest on the tree-covered island on the round oval lake. Later that day, William and Harry, along with their father and uncle, traveled north via train, where her coffin, draped not only in the Royal Standard, but the Spencer Standard, was interred. The young princes later planted oak trees, and according to Lacey, as adults, they have returned over the years with their wives and children. However, by late 2016, things were starting to look quite shabby on the island, and so towards the end of that year, the Earl's third wife, Lady Karen, oversaw an estate revamp. The family made separate plans for July 1st to reburial the Princess Diana's grave. And on the guest list were not only Prince William and Duchess Kate, but also their children George and Charlotte, Diana's siblings. And on the Archbishop of Canterbury, of course. Do you see a name missing? Exactly. According to the Daily Mail, despite traveling from Canada to the UK, Meghan Markle was not there. At the time, the situation was given as it was not deemed appropriate for her to participate in the ceremony. Right. Harry reportedly saw things differently. Very differently. An upset Harry told Meghan of his family's warnings and a very definite sense of us against the world. He became entrenched, the Daily Mail has reported. 4 months later, Harry asked the question in the kitchen of Kensington Palace cottage they called home. Less than a year after the private family ceremony that Meghan was stripped of, she became the Duchess of Sussex. We now know that at the time, deep rifts appeared in the relationship between the newlyweds and the royal family. Looking back, what's so tempting here is to play a quick round of what if. What if, despite whatever misgivings they might have, William and Kate had included Meghan on that day at Althorpe? What if they decided that no matter their personal feelings about the relationship, that Harry would be hurting on the day and would need someone there for him? What if they had faced reality and seen Harry and Meghan's marriage as a fait accompli and had done more to make her feel welcome? Or we can go the other way and ask, what if Harry had decided to ignore his older brother's raised eyebrows and simply focused on the amazing thing that he had going on with the actress and activist? What if he had taken the perspective to see that his brother, a man who had taken 9 years to propose, was never going to truly understand the notion of throwing himself with such abandon and passion into a relationship? What if he had realized that William's warning was less driven by snobbishness, but simply an inability to see things from another perspective? There are so many moments, so many maximally turning points in the road that can perhaps lead to growing and multiplying pains that ultimately led to the Sussex family having to bail out of life in the palace and start to head back furiously to California. Many times over the years, anyone has even known Diana has asked what she would think of Meghan. Likewise, I wonder what she will do with the July 1st, 2017 event. On the wall of the temple on the island at Althorpe, where Diana lies, there are two plaques. One which includes a quote from her: "Nothing brings me more happiness than trying to help the most vulnerable people in society. It is a goal and an essential part of my life, a kind of destiny. Whoever is in distress can call on me. I will come running wherever they are." Was Harry's destiny to end up in the U.S. hustling for paying gigs and becoming the world's most famous royal refusenik? I'm not so sure. If only so many moments had played out differently. If only on that July day Meghan had been there too.